Hello and welcome. This is another edition of Your City in Action here on Salina Media Connection. I'm your host, Todd Pittenger from the Rockingham Media Group of radio stations. We have 6 radio stations here in Salina. Most notably for me, News Radio 1150 KSAL, do news for that. We also have the Kansas News Network, where we do news for over 40 radio stations across Kansas. We produce network news here in Salina. So good to have you joining us today. Another fun, exciting, action-packed show today, as we're going to talk sports. We're going to talk all things Salina sports, all things more specifically Salina Parks and Recreation, and we'll kind of sort of not just focus on it only, but kind of sort of focus, shine the spotlight on the Salina Fieldhouse. With us, Travis Scheele. And Travis, your title once again?
Recreation Superintendent.
Travis Scheele, Recreation Superintendent from Salina Parks and Recreation. He used to have an office in the city-county building down there in the basement there in the corner where it gets damp when it rains. Now he's got an office in the brand new Salina Fieldhouse, right?
Yes, that is correct.
Well, let's start off, let's rewind a little bit and talk about how we got to where we are today concerning the Salina Fieldhouse. 5 years ago, it was just a dream. There was a group of people were gathering some money. This was going to be a private-public partnership, but we never knew if it was actually going to come to fruition. 5 years later, it has come to fruition. We're in year 2 of it now, is that correct?
We're in 2, yes,
yeah.
that is correct.
Tell me about how it has evolved.
It has evolved, going into that space and actually being a part of the design,
right,
and some concepts that you have in your mind and seeing that vision and actually having them come to reality. It's been a success, and just watching it grow, watching it function like I thought it would, and flex to like I thought it would. You have the turf capabilities, you have the hardwood capabilities, you have the lobby that can be utilized for so many different things. So it's kind of neat to watch it just flex to whatever event that we're hosting, whether it be basketball, volleyball. We had softball and baseball tournaments in there, and Sharp Performance had a football combine in there. So it can flex to so many different things. So I think that's special, and makes it a kind of a rare facility, really.
Absolutely. It's kind of the crown jewel. It is what has spurred the renovation of downtown Salina. It was the first domino, so to speak, to fall before the other domino. There's a bowling alley that soon is going to be open, kind of catty corner or across the street. We've got new restaurants downtown. The streets are being refurbished. So lots going on downtown. But what started it all, kind of the primer that primed the pump there, got it all started, was the Salina Fieldhouse. Amazing thing to me, I was there it's been a couple of months back, a Match Madness event went on there, where there were nonprofits there all day raising money. That was a great event. But while Match Madness was going on, I was doing a live broadcast from there. Salina Liberty football players showed up. They had football practice back in one of the gyms at the same time that was going on. So it really is very versatile. I mean, it's not just a place where you play basketball, you have basketball tournaments, you play volleyball, maybe some volleyball tournaments. It's much more than that, isn't it?
It is. You hit the nail on the head. It can flex. We can have multiple events in there at the same time, whether it be, again, a basketball or a Match Madness. We had the senior dance in there, and I got jiggy with it a little bit.
Yeah, right. You had the father-daughter dance in there too, right? I saw there was a Halloween party in there.
Halloween party. So you can have a multitude of events in there, and it's kind of neat to watch.
Right.
It really is.
Now, there is a multitude of events, but it is the Salina Fieldhouse. The main focus is sports. Tournaments, yes, but also everyday Salina Parks and Recreation events. I know some of my co-workers had for lack of a better term, they called it a town team basketball team that they had played there. So tell me about some of the things that average everyday citizens do at the Fieldhouse.
Sure. The first year was, again, transferring a lot of our existing programs into one roof.
You were scattered all over town, right?
We were scattered all over town, from K-State Salina to a lot of the USD facilities, and it's been good to streamline everything that we run through the Salina Fieldhouse, and it makes scheduling better. We've seen our leagues grow because of it, and then we started implementing new activities. So that's been fun to transfer everything in there that existing, and then get new going. And some of those that come off the top of my head, or we have a futsal league now.
Futsal, for those that aren't familiar with it, what is that?
Futsal is soccer soccer on the hard court,
Right.
and we're one of the rare facilities that do have the lines already down.
Okay.
They're green.
Right.
And so we did hire a soccer supervisor, and he is getting soccer back on the map here in
Right.
Salina. And so that was kind of a unique. We do have 6 full courts in there for futsal. And the other one that comes off top of my head is the indoor soccer piece of the turf.
Right.
We can run 3v3, we can run 6v6, we can do a lot of different things in there. And in the same nights, during the winter especially,
Right.
we transferred from soccer to baseball, softball practice just like that,
Right.
which is lowering the net, moving a goal, anything like that. So very heavily utilized. It's in the winter, in the evenings.
Right.
And there wasn't a space, from that December to about March. It's packed in the evenings. And then when we come to spring and summer, I noticed the facility flip a little bit, which it becomes more of a day facility.
Right.
This summer, we have a summer camp going on. Again, we transferred, I think we had it in Friendship, just a summer day camp for kids. And we've transferred that into the Fieldhouse. Usually that's been around 60 kids. We're up to 80-some now.
Wow.
And it's become a good activity, a lot of space, a lot of versatility. Like you mentioned, they're playing soccer, they're playing basketball, they're playing volleyball, whatever they want to do. And then what I've noticed is they're in one gym for an hour, and
Right.
then they might be playing chess.
Right.
They might be playing bowling. They might be doing, and our Max does a great job there keeping those kids active.
Right.
So those kids are tired by the end of the day.
Mom and Dad like that. They
Mom
sleep
and Dad
good
love
then.
that.
Yeah.
That is correct. But that's one of the new activities that we do have in the field house this summer, and so it's become pretty busy during the day. And the rain has hit us hard
Yes.
this summer, as you know, and I've seen a lot of baseball and softball practices continue throughout the summer, just so they can get those practices.
Right, sure.
in
You
the
can't do
evenings.
outside. If you've got space available, they can. If you've got schedule open, they can reach out to you, and maybe you can schedule. Maybe you can. Maybe you can't schedule a time. Right.
That is correct. We try to get everybody in there
Right.
that we can, and I've noticed a few dates that unfortunately we're
Right.
full. So, which is a good problem to have.
It's a good problem to have. Again, this is Your City in Action here on Salina Media Connection. I'm your host, Todd Pittenger. Our guest today, Travis Scheele from Salina Parks and Recreation. Going on year 2, like we talked about. Let me focus on a couple of different things. As it was first being built, those that didn't think it was a good idea, didn't like it, they had a couple of main things, and I'll have you address those and how those have gone coming up into year 2. Some people said, you know what, there's not enough seating in there. The gyms are small, there's not enough bleachers in there. But I know you had did a thing where you have TV monitors out there for teams getting ready to play next. You can watch it on TV, and when it's done, you don't have to be sitting in there in the gym waiting for your next game. You can be out in the lobby area, and then you can go in when the game over. How has that worked out, the seating issue?
Excellent.
Excellent. Yeah.
We do realize we're short on seating, and just due to space, and that's about the only thing we physically have to move.
Right.
We can move those goals, nets,
Yeah.
volleyball with a touch of a button of an iPad, it makes this great.
Yeah.
Because we can be playing a basketball game 1 hour, and then a volleyball game the next hour, just like that.
Right.
So which makes it really, really nice. But we do have to move seating.
Right.
From what I've seen so far with tournaments, our league, we have figured out, hey, we only need so much seating for this,
Right.
or for the tournaments. I've yet to see that we have a shortage
Right.
of seating. And you mentioned the video or the monitors. That's a nice touch
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
the facility. I see a lot of grandmas,
Right.
moms, those type of things. We don't allow food or drink without a lid inside the gyms. So they respect that for the most part, and they'll just watch the game right out in the lobby, and they're perfectly happy with that, chasing their 1 or 2 year old around and not out on the court. So it's worked out pretty well.
Another concern for people, they'd ask, you've got a parking lot there, not a huge one. They ask, where in the heck is everybody going to park? I've never personally had an issue with parking. I've been there for several big events, for the Match Madness, for some of the tournaments I've went over there. Typically, I'll parallel park out there in the street somewhere.
There you go.
But tell me about parking. How has that evolved?
Well, that was a concern, at front. And Monday through Friday, we're we're fine.
Right.
It's the tournaments, and what I've seen is probably a radius of 2 to 3 blocks. People are parking,
which is not a huge walk.
Not a huge walk. The parking lot across the street to the west has certainly helped tremendously.
And then that's the parking lot for which, it would be to the west, so that would be the parking lot to the KU Med Center?
That is correct.
Yes.
So they utilize that parking lot. They utilize Assurance parking lot on weekends. Of course, the parking that we have, on-street parking.
Right.
So I've seen 2 to 3 blocks people have to walk. I think it might be a perception thing.
Yeah, I would agree.
You and I have gone to the Royals games,
yes.
right?
How absolutely.
We're in the parking lot, right? But how long did you walk?
I know. I've gone to Chiefs games where I park across the street in a hotel parking lot because I'm cheap and I don't want to pay the high prices for the cheap. And I'll literally walk, 20 minutes to the game. So. So it's not been a big issue.
It has not, no.
Well, tell me about the bowling alley and what effect it will have on the Salina Fieldhouse, if any. It's not open yet. By the end of the summer, it will be open. I selfishly, I work downtown, so I'm excited about everything happening downtown, and I see it day by day, change day by day as it comes to life. Is that going to have any sort of impact on your facility?
I think so. Positively, it'll give something for maybe the teams, parents to do in between games.
Because they're going to have a bar and grill in there. They're going to have food in there, and they're going to have other things to do. Maybe brother and sister can go bowling while they're waiting in between games or something.
It'll provide some entertainment. Instead of sitting inside the field house, it'll go allow them to go outside or go to that facility. Again, have some entertainment, bowl a little bit, bar and grill. It may affect concessions a little bit, but that's the only thing that I can think of.
Yeah, the exciting thing to me, a lot of times I'll go up, because on a Sunday morning I can go up to the radio station and get more done in 2 hours, I think, than I can in 6 hours, in a half a morning and an afternoon, just because I don't get bothered by anyone.
Sure.
But
I do the same.
The exciting thing to me, it's not uncommon now for me on Sunday mornings to see people walking around downtown on the sculpture tour, and I can tell on weekends when you have a tournament, because Sunday mornings, literally 10:30, 11 o'clock on a Sunday morning, there's a nice crowd downtown walking around.
Last weekend we had 56 teams in an MAYB tournament, so 2 days, and they start games at 8 a.m. And there's people constantly coming in and out of the facility, and just like you said, the lobby kind of allows a nice rotation, people to hang out in the lobby and watch the games on the monitors, wait for those teams to exit, and then they go in. But so I've seen positive effects inside and out.
Right. Now, I'd be derelict in my duty if I didn't ask you about the cracks in the floor. That has really made some people lose their mind, for lack of a better term. Now, I know you're not highly involved in that. You're the first person to see them, though, because you know that building better than anyone. You spend more time in that building better than anyone. First of all, I want to reiterate, the cracks have no bearing on the structure, right? They are more of just a visual thing, right?
That is correct. And I remember walking to my office and I saw the first one. And then, of course, report that to my superior. And I do know that the city is working diligently on it, and it's at no cost to the taxpayer.
Right.
It's all on the construction. So just working out the best fix for it, and then go from there.
Right. Well, all right, let's shift gears just a little bit. Yeah, your focus is the Salina Fieldhouse, but your Parks and Recreation, it's your job to schedule all these summer baseball and softball rec league games. And fair to say, Mother Nature has not been your friend this year?
It reminds me of 2007, my first year here, and that was a challenge. And I know, because I went back and counted them. 483 games.
Were rained out that year? You had to reschedule? Wow. What are you at this year? Do you know?
I don't have that count.
Yeah, but you're getting close.
It's getting there. Yes, Mother Nature is it's your friend. And it can be your enemy.
Yes.
And
rain is good. We like rain in Kansas,
like rain,
but a little bit too much of a good thing sometimes.
That is correct. But all we do is reschedule them the best we can and get them, because we want to see the kids play. We really do. But it does cause a lot of challenges. I'm not going to lie.
Now, your goal is to have everything wrapped up by about the second week of July, in a perfect world. In a perfect world, you're done by the first week of July,
second week of July. We want to be done with our leagues, and I can tell you we're already in the third week.
Right.
Just our whole first week was rained out.
Right. So why do you want to be done early in July?
You know, myself included.
Right.
You know, we want to take a vacation.
Yes. Hey, I'm going to Vegas mid-July,
awesome.
so I'm just like you.
Awesome. What we've learned over the years is that third week of July, you have camps, you have clinics, you have fairs, you have vacations, you have a lot of different things.
And dare I say it, you have people starting to think about back to school, right?
You have things that are gearing up for school. You really do. So a lot of different things start that third week, and it's our job though to reschedule them, and most of those games we do get in. There are some teams that end up cannot play because of those things we mentioned, but it's our job to reschedule them, and we're rescheduling them.
How do you reschedule that? Do you reach out to the teams, or do you just look at a date and say, listen, here's the date, here's when your game is, you got to be here, you got to have enough players to show up?
Whatever you do, it's not going to be right
I
sometimes.
know, I agree. And it's difficult when you got so many kids on a couple of different teams, and they may have already had other plans. There's never going to be a common date that's good for everyone, is there?
No, we try to find the same corresponding date that they usually play. Give you an example, if they usually play on a Tuesday, we'll probably reschedule their first one on that Tuesday, the next corresponding Tuesday. But then, we don't want to go that far. We got a gap on a Wednesday or a Thursday. 2007, I remember this very, very much. So we had a Thursday night adult men's league. They didn't play until the last week of the season.
Wow.
And they played a doubleheader on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. They played pretty much 80%.
A full season in a week.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So, you know, were they happy about it? No. But they respected it and say, hey, we're going to reschedule your games until we can get them in. And that's what we're going to do.
Well, let's briefly talk about soccer. I know you're not the guy in charge of soccer, but I'm a runner. I run by the South Magnolia Soccer Complex every day. That thing is beautiful. The grass is immaculate. It's looking better than I have ever seen it. Tell me how the soccer, is it growing in Salina?
It is. You know, so when I moved over to the Fieldhouse, and then we did hire Dave Atterkirk.
Former South coach, or maybe current center, but he's coached both high schools. He's coached South to a state championship.
That is correct. So earlier in my career here, I dealt with him because he was the president of the club. And then he got out, and then we started to see kind of a decline in soccer. And we had an interest of hiring someone specifically for soccer and some other things. And I said, Dave Atterkirk's our guy. He built soccer in this community once. He can do it again. And we've seen nothing but our teams increase since he's been on board, doing a good job. We've got a relationship with Puma Soccer.
I was going to say that. A kind of a sort of a relationship with Sporting Kansas City, with the soccer program in Kansas City, which is huge.
Huge there. When I got out of actually hands-on with soccer, I think we had probably 6-8 teams, something like that, for recreational soccer. He has taken that to 15, and then he's got another 10 or 12, 15 for Puma. So it's building. And again, the futsal thing is something unique, I think, that can be for Salina. And his first time offering that was 35 teams.
Wow.
So yeah, and that's something unique we got going here, and he's building it.
Well, and speaking of building it, I know there's 2 new fields that they've built over there. I literally watched those go from being plowed to grass, and they're not totally, completely lined or anything yet. You've got 2 other fields ready to go.
We do. We made those development. It was semi-developed when the soccer complex was built. We just had to come back, regrade it a little bit, put some irrigation in. It'll be ready to go this fall.
It looks good.
It does. So that way, it is natural grass. So it gives us a chance to heal some areas that get a lot of play on them, and then we get to transfer over to that, let that heal, and then we'll go attack another area.
All of those fields over there at the soccer complex are natural grass, as are all of your baseball and softball field. I know there's been a little bit of a push to turf the baseball fields. Tell me about that. How would that make a difference if that were to come to fruition? Would that help a lot?
Yeah, turf helps with maintenance, of course. It does help with maintenance. It helps with your turnaround of playability. There's no question with that. But there's some pros with turf, no question. There are some cons. The first one is cost.
Oh, I know.
It
It's
is
not
cost.
cheap, is it? And
It's
you
not
probably
cheap.
have to replace it in 10 years, right?
About 10 to
10 to 15,
12,
10 to 12,
somewhere
right?
in
Yeah.
there. So that's what we're seeing
Right.
at that level. So I know that's being talked about at the City Commission
Right.
and at the Parks and Recreation
Yes.
Board level. So they have a proposal on the table,
Right.
and see how it goes.
We'll see what happens with that. Again, talking to Travis Scheele here, Your City in Action on Salina Media Connection, all things Salina Parks and Recreation. What else do we need to touch on, Travis?
Well, we can talk about the Fieldhouse a little bit more.
So
if you'd
you've said you've crunched a few numbers. You
A
might
little
have
bit, yeah.
some statistics.
Got some numbers.
Hit me with that.
Well, I got some summer activities
Right.
first. You know, the summer camp I talked about,
Right.
and the summer lunch food program transferred.
That's
in.
new this year,
That's
isn't it?
new.
That's very cool.
That is cool. It's our lobby's packed,
Right.
And we do have not only our summer
Right.
camp kids in there, and then they have a public
Right.
that come in right after.
Yeah.
So they're looking around 100 and some.
So for those that aren't familiar with it, it's actually a program of USD 305 where they
That's
offer
correct.
free summer lunches to kids age 18 and younger to about half dozen-ish locations around town. And I believe adults can come in and eat for like $4 or $4.50. But you come in and basically for kids it's a free lunch, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
It is. That's gone pretty well,
Right.
you know, and to join that in with the summer camp
Right.
is done well. I think you mentioned maybe the Salina Liberty. They have been practicing
Right.
in our facility in the
Now they're in the
Fieldhouse.
playoffs? Well, yeah,
Yeah,
right?
how about
Yeah.
that? And so when the turf is not down at Tony's Pizza Event Center, they do utilize the Salina Fieldhouse,
Right.
conduct their practices in there, and they've been ecstatic in there. So we do have a summer basketball league in
Oh,
there.
wow.
We started, that's something new.
Basketball year-round now, huh?
Basketball's year round, and 40 teams.
Wow.
On Mondays and Wednesdays, so that's been going pretty well.
Is that youth, adult,
It's
combination
youth.
thereof?
It's youth
right?
and middle school,
Right.
girls and boys. So 40 teams there, which I think that league has been in Bennington
Right.
in previous years. We did transfer it to Salina. I think they maxed it out at 24.
Right.
We have 40.
Wow.
Yeah, so space is your friend there. And so that's been going well. We've had conditioning classes, cheerleading classes.
Right.
We do have a volleyball camp coming up. I think that's the end of June, I believe. We have a KU basketball camp coming
Right.
up at the end of June.
Which was maybe the second time you've done it. That was the first event ever at the Fieldhouse,
It
wasn't
was.
it? Yes.
It was. It was on a Thursday.
Right.
I remember that. It was on Jeff Hawkins came in on a Thursday.
Yep, and he
we
had a couple of the big recruits with him also.
He did.
The Lawson brothers
Lawson
were here.
Brothers,
So.
that is correct. And then we had an MEYB tournament that following Saturday.
Well, Travis, it sounds like you've got a busy schedule over there. Things are humming over there at the Salina Fieldhouse. Salina Parks and Recreation, things are humming there as well. Mother Nature's not your friend. I'll try to take care of that for you for the rest of the summer. I'll try to make sure we have a little more sunshine, a little more heat, a little more wind to dry out those fields, okay?
You bet, you bet. Did you want me to touch on some numbers?
Travis, I think we got to wrap things up. We're rolling.
okay.
We're going. You were worried about filling 15 minutes. We could
I was worried about that.
We could do 15 more minutes. But Travis, thank you. We'll have you back soon because we have so
My
much to
pleasure.
talk about. And when we come back, we'll talk about looking forward to the fall at Salina Fieldhouse.
Thank
All
you.
right. Travis Scheele, Salina Parks and Recreation. Todd Pittenger from the Rockingham Media Group of radio stations. Thanking you for watching us today. This has been Your City in Action here on Salina Media Connection.